My wife survived a deadly illness, but instead of cherishing life with me, she betrayed me with my own best friend. My spouse approached me with a request to explore relationships with other men, citing her survival of a life-threatening illness as her reason. When I refused, she began engaging in secret affairs. A few weeks back, she sat me down, saying she needed to confess something weighing on her heart. I asked what was troubling her, and she explained that overcoming her illness the previous year made her realize how fleeting life is. She wanted to embrace new experiences. I immediately thought she meant travel, something she'd always dreamed of but we couldn't afford. Taking her hand, I promised we'd make it happen. I'd take on extra work, save every penny, and we'd see the world together. "That's kind of you, sweetheart," she said softly, "but that's not what I meant." Hesitating, she admitted it pained her to ask, but she wanted to be intimate with other men while remaining married to me. I froze. It felt like my entire world crumbled. After a moment, I told her I couldn't accept her being with someone else while staying together. The betrayal was too much to handle. She seemed upset, accusing me of stifling her chance to live fully after her ordeal. I suggested she explore other fulfilling activities, and though reluctant, she agreed. Over the next few weeks, her behavior shifted. She started returning home late from work several nights a week, claiming she was socializing with colleagues or staying late for projects. At first, I didn't think much of it, but one night she came home unusually late, dressed in an elegant crimson gown, her makeup flawless, radiating joy. I asked why she'd changed from her usual work clothes into such a striking outfit. She mentioned an after-hours work event to lift team spirits. When I asked why I wasn't invited or where it was held, she only answered that spouses weren't allowed since the company covered the expenses. I let it slide, and she went upstairs to get ready for bed. In the days that followed, she began wearing vibrant, form-fitting work attire and the same elaborate makeup from that night. Her behavior changed further. On weekends, while running errands, she'd apply makeup and wear the costly perfume I'd gifted her years ago for an anniversary, but never when we went out together. Our date nights dwindled, not for lack of effort on my part. Whenever I suggested a romantic dinner or a quiet evening at the park, she'd claim she was busy or too tired, only to leave the house later to go somewhere alone. I didn't confront her at first, assuming this was her way of feeling alive, taking better care of her appearance and boosting her confidence. Who was I to stop her? But then she started sharing stories about men noticing her. She'd come home talking about how a guy at the store flirted with her or how a coworker was so clever and great at his job. It unsettled me, especially when she'd comment on my friends during our game nights at home, gushing about how charming or funny they were after they left. I considered canceling the game nights but didn't want to rob her of joy, especially after her health scare. I felt torn. Eventually, I decided to address her changes. One evening, I cooked dinner and gently brought up her late nights, new style, and frequent mentions of other men. I shared how it made me feel insecure. She reacted defensively, accusing me of being possessive and insisting her actions weren't suspicious. She argued I couldn't understand what it was like to face mortality. "I'm going to live life to the fullest," she declared. I apologized for upsetting her, explaining I was only concerned and wanted the best for her. That night, I lay in bed riddled with guilt. I felt I'd wrongly accused her of infidelity. She was doing what I'd encouraged, exploring new interests like fashion and socializing. Yet I couldn't shake the question. Why was she only so sociable with men? Doubt crept in, making me wonder if she was manipulating me, using her illness as an excuse. One moment, I suspected betrayal. The next, I felt ashamed for doubting her. Weeks passed without a proper date. Our conversations dwindled to brief exchanges about her day or small errands. She began taking weekend trips, sometimes saying she was with friends, other times claiming work obligations. When I questioned the odd hours her job demanded, she said it was for a major project. I offered to join her, but she accused me of distrust, growing visibly upset. I stopped asking, simply wishing her well and urging her to stay safe. One evening, after another late night, she spoke first, a rarity. Excited, I sat down as she asked if we could discuss something serious. She proposed opening our marriage, listing its supposed benefits: freedom, happiness, and no jealousy with clear boundaries. My heart sank, echoing the pain from her earlier request. I could barely speak, feeling the same betrayal. Looking at her desperate expression, I reiterated my discomfort with an open marriage. She broke down, sobbing, explaining that surviving her illness had transformed her perspective, making her crave excitement to reclaim lost time. Despite my reservations, I wanted her happiness. Reluctantly, I agreed to an open marriage. The weeks that followed were agonizing. Paranoia consumed me. Every man she mentioned felt like a potential lover. I hosted fewer game nights, not out of jealousy, but because I couldn't pretend to be okay. My interactions with friends were tainted by visions of her excitement when talking about them. A close friend from high school, Caleb, noticed my withdrawal and reached out. Embarrassed to admit the truth about our open marriage, I lied, saying a family member had passed. He offered his support, and I appreciated his loyalty. Meanwhile, my wife's absences grew longer. She'd stay out all night, her phone often on Do Not Disturb. My mental health deteriorated as I lay awake, tormented by thoughts of her actions. After 2 months, I couldn't endure it any longer. When she returned after a 3-day absence, I confronted her. I poured out my struggles, but she seemed detached, barely listening. When I said I couldn't continue an open marriage, her expression softened with sincerity. She apologized, hating to see me suffer alone, and agreed to close our marriage. Relief washed over me. We embraced, rekindling our connection, and for a while, life felt normal again. She came home on time, stayed every night, and though she kept up her new style, I was just glad we were happy together. Then one night, she jokingly mentioned reopening our marriage. I brushed it off, unsure if she was serious. Weeks later, she brought it up again, admitting she missed the thrill of those adventures with other men while having me as her stable partner. Hurt and betrayed, I told her I couldn't sacrifice my mental health for an open marriage. That night, unable to sleep, I did something I regret. I found her phone on the counter and with trembling hands unlocked it. My heart raced as I opened her recent messages. The latest was from someone called Big Talker, saying goodnight and expressing love. My world spun. Scrolling through, I saw him urging her to leave me for a better life together. She replied that she wanted that, but it was complicated. They discussed weekend trips and plans, and I found messages showing he'd paid for her new clothes, hair, and nails. The betrayal hit harder when I realized their affair predated her first request to sleep with others, even before her recovery. One message read, "If I beat this, you're taking me to Bali, right?" Devastated, I checked the number. It was Caleb's. My best friend from high school. My heart shattered. The next morning, I confronted her with the phone. She tried to explain, claiming the affair meant nothing and that she hadn't left because she loved me. When I didn't accept her excuses, she sobbed, begging for forgiveness, citing her illness as the catalyst. I told her it didn't justify her lies and that I was done. Despite her pleas, I packed my things and left. As I drove away, seeing her cry at the door stirred sorrow, but relief soon followed. My instincts had been right all along, and the weight of her gaslighting lifted. If you loved the video, be sure to drop a like, follow the channel, and tap the bell icon to stay updated on our future stories. Catch you in the next one.